sorry, then you return everything and say, okay, goodbye, give him a good goodbye also. And unfortunately, Prithviraj Chauhan said goodbye to him 16 times or whatever number of times, when he should have really had the sense not to do it for more than 2 times. You should not forgive somebody more than perhaps 2 times. And he forgave him for... But that was our culture. And the people who came did not realize this. I mean, they did not observe this. And they attacked at night, they attacked in the cities, they had mayhem in the population centers, they destroyed the crops. And so it was a new thing. It was only after Shivaji emerged in the scene that the new models of warfare, new methods of warfare, including guerrilla warfare, was perfected by him. So consequently, the issue is that you cannot ever, you should not ever accept failure, and that also comes out in the Gita, because it says that the result is not really your determination. You will get the value of your karma someplace. There will be a karma account which God is supposed to keep, and in that karma account, somewhere or the other, you will be able to cash it. It may be you may not get it in one area, but get in another area. You might get a very good wife and a very bad job, or the vice versa, a very bad job and a very bad wife and a very good job. So, it's we have in Gita, the mindset is that life balances itself, and therefore that is another aspect that you. So this realizing this potential is the real question. Now, therefore, I would say your mindset should now work towards getting rid of anxiety. Anxiety comes about the fear when you start thinking about the future, and our future is unknown. And then you imagine the worst possible scenario. And that is what is anxiety leads to stress, and stress leads to disease. It generates chemicals in your body which ultimately affect your health. So stress management requires this mind stillness on this. That's why yoga is brought in. And then the future is something that we worry too much, particularly Indians, they worry too much about the future. Not that they can do anything about it, but all the time. I keep getting asked that in the future, supposing you're killed, what will you do? You're taking all these cases against very important people. I say, how can I've got to die one day anyway. But the issue is that why should I think about such a possibility? Supposing I start early in the morning from my house for an appointment, a very important appointment, maybe something that my job or something, and on the way I get landed into a traffic jam. Now you will say, my God, this traffic jam, maybe the appointment will be cancelled and I will lose a great opportunity. So that's one way of thinking, and you fret about it, you sweat about it. And this produces great deal of bodily changes through these chemicals which are released by the brain. Now, if you were a positive person, you would say, I left early enough. Traffic jam is something I did not expect. And now what has happened? I'll just relax in the car, maybe turn on the radio and listen to the music, or put on some cassette and enjoy, you see, the stillness of the traffic jam. And maybe this appointment that I would have got would have led to a job which is not to my future. That maybe because I didn't get this, I will get another opportunity to get a better job. This happens. It has happened to me many times that I've been denied something and then I ended up doing something better. I remember when I left my professorship at Harvard, went and became professor at IIT, and I was campaigning against socialism, saying that the growth rate will never increase in our country unless we undertake a change to the market economic system. Mrs. Gandhi was in power. She was so angry when she saw, And because I got publicity, because I was Harvard, ex-Harvard professor, IIT professor, so a lot of publicity damning the socialist system, the Soviet model. So one day I got a letter of dismissal saying, you are dismissed. Now I raised it with the director, how can I be dismissed when I am a full professor? And I have no inquiry, nothing, just you sent me a letter that effect, and they sent it to me 10 minutes past 5 o'clock, that effective from 5 o'clock you are dismissed. They even came and took my luggage and all from the house and all my goods and threw them out on the road. I mean, I was living in the campus housing at that time. Now, everybody thought that that's the end of me. But sooner I was, because of some of my writings, attracted political attention. I was, inducted into Parliament, and because I was inducted into Parliament, and the Janata subsequently, after the emergency came to power, I was appointed by Morarji Desai on the board of governors of the very body which dismissed me in the first place. Morarji, in order to show sympathy for me, he also dismissed all those members who dismissed me in the first place. And I was on the board of governors, I was in the IIT council, and later on, of course, I had also gone to court against my dismissal. 22 years later, I was reinstated by court. And the court gave me all my back salary without doing any work. So I landed with 25 lakhs in my pocket, and so on. Now you tell me, was the dismissal a bad thing? It was not a bad thing for me. And it also enabled me to do politics and teach at Harvard at the same time. I mean, academic interests also. I was able to do. So I feel that if you really look behind, you look back, and you take a positive attitude, anything bad happens to you, maybe it's happening for something better. And with that attitude, this is what Gita says also, and that's the inference you can draw. Then you will certainly be better off. Now, I think what happens is when you start thinking too much about the future, you become risk averse. And that's the worst habit to have. You must be capable of taking risk, because you have to calculate the risk, you can't be wild and so on. But without risk taking, you cannot achieve anything. And risk, you see, is something where either you will end up in a very bad way, and of course then you must learn to get up again and try again, or you may get a huge bounty. At the end of every class at Harvard, which has students from all nationalities, particularly Indians are there in large numbers, I ask one question: now when you take up careers, what kind of career will you take up? One where you join in and you are guaranteed the job, and every year your salary will be increased by maybe 1% or 2% or whatever. There will be annual increments, and some of the money of your salary will be put in Provident Fund. And at the end of 60 years or 65 years or 70 years, you will you'll retire and you'll get a Provident Fund. That kind of a job you like. Or a job where you might become a billionaire, or you may end up on the street. What kind of a job would you like? And I posed this question to my class. The American students usually ask me, what's the probability I'll end up on the street in the risky alternative? But the Indian students will be, 99% will say the first job is better. And when I say, why the first job? Because there's guaranteed poverty. They say at least it is guaranteed. That's what's important. Even poverty is better if it is guaranteed. This is the Indian mind, which is always searching for safety, for certainty. But life is not certain. And therefore you must learn to take risk. And if you take risk with the knowledge that no effort goes waste, and if you have done it for a good cause, it will be good karma. And that will go into the account, and ultimately you will be benefited. So this, without taking risk, you can never excel. For excellence, you need to take risk. For mediocrity, you can avoid risk. If you want to be a bureaucrat, that's a different matter. But if you want to be something, you want to achieve something, you should have the gumption to take that risk. And this is, this, if I may quote from Krishna in chapter 16, shloka 24.